recording for, future purposes. But yeah, hey guys, welcome. Uh, I believe we've got, is this V and V? I can't tell, the names are truncated. Maybe if I disable it? Nope, it's still truncated. But anyways, hey Jay Brignac, hey Techwell. Um, to the guy with the Apple profile picture, thank you for dropping by. Unfortunately, your name's truncated. I can't greet you properly, but yeah, good morning. Um, let's get the show started. Uh, so, quite the Tuesday that we've got. Currently, the market is in extreme fear, which is a whole, I believe, 10, oh no, 14-point drop. Because we were at like 24 last week, so a huge 10-point drop, um, back down to extreme fear. Let's look at the liquidation maps and let's refresh it properly. You got liquidations almost 1-to-1 ratio on both sides on Bitcoin. Let's look at the 7 day. Longs are just decimated, right? 30 day longs. These guys were equal just last week, and now it's the longs have been cut by half. So crazy. I do expect a lot of volatility tonight. Maybe a flash dump, then a push to the upside, and hopefully more of our long orders get picked up as we continue to the downside. Looking at the 24-hour liquidation heat map on Bitcoin, we see that we're aiming for this hotspot around uh, 85,000. Now, if we bump up the time frame a little bit, it's still at 85,000 on the 48 hour. Here on the 3 day, it's still roughly at around 85,000, which gives me a strong sense that we do want to go to about 84. Let's go to the 1 week. Maybe that will give us a better picture. Yeah, there's not really major pockets here on the 1 week. So it tells me about 84, 85 is where we want to be. Hence why our long orders at around 84,770, which also accounts for volatility. Looking at the RSI heat map, we can see that 24-hour average RSI is weak. We have Pippin at overbought for some god-forsaken reason. So let's look at Pippin to short later, maybe. Um, but you have the likes of Aptos, IP, Jupiter, uh, Linnea, ATH, Monad, Sonic. All of these coins just dying. They're all in oversold. Bitcoin is is Bitcoin on the cusp? Bitcoin's on weak. So if we go to the 1 week, Bitcoin is still weak but heading towards oversold. So I kind of want to look at some of these coins, um, something like Melania or World Liberty Finance. That might be interesting to look at on today's show. But with that said, that basically tells us what the fundamental analysis is like. It's basically telling us market's exhausted, everyone's scared, perfect time to buy. At least that's the contrarian theory. So looking at Bitcoin, our short is paying off quite well. If we go to the 5 minutes and the 1 hour right over here, let me just pull up the 1 hour. 5 minutes is oversold. Measured move got canceled, and we are getting sort of a doji candle here on the 5 minutes. On the 1 hour, it's saying we get more downside. Hidden bearish divergence, downward reversal triangle with a bearish trend shift. It's saying we want more downside. And so I do think we get our entry at around 84,778 really quick. Hold on, I'll just quickly take this call. Alright, my bad guys. Thank you for waiting. I had to just fix some flight details. Um, Flying to Queenstown in, well, actually, when am I flying to Queenstown? December 26th. So for 2 weeks from now. Gotta. Oh no, it's 10 days from now. Gotta fix that. But anyways, um, so as we're looking to, thank you. First time in Queenstown. I've been to Auckland, not Queenstown. But anyways, what did I miss? Let's see. So 5 minute got above the dynamic and quantum reactor. We are getting a bullish signal on our oracle, which is telling us that we do get some upside here. But then again, as we can see from, or what we saw from our fundamental analysis for the guys earlier. Oh, okay. Hey, Speezy, Gurus, Levette, Ali Man, The Man, Paolo, Doc, Stefan, AC, Tekwo. I think this is V and V, and Jay Brignac. Um, we have liquidity stacked on both sides, so really it's just going to be a matter of let's kill both sides, but ultimately the liquidity is stacked to the upside, and that's where we want to go. We did get sort of a failure just now, or for this week, or technically it was last week close that was a failure. But the point is that gives us better opportunities to buy low and ride it up. That said, here on the 1 hour, it's bearish. We're gonna head down according to the CPO plus. But I am looking at the silver lining here on the MVP ribbon. You can see that our fluid zero line is very low into the actual oscillator. It's heading towards the lower extremities, which means this right here is technically counting this as bullish momentum. So even if this goes down, even if let's say it gets to our entry, which would be great, by the time it does, we can expect at least some push back to at least the point of control here at 90,000. Let's go to Ethereum, and it's sort of saying the same story. Actually, no, it's not saying the same story. Let's go back. But our 4 hour is looking a little hopeful. Granted, I'm not liking the MVP ribbon on the 4 hour. But let's go 5 minutes, 1 hour. You can see that the quantum reactor did catch us, which is good overall. If we want to be bullish. Now, we do have orders at 2870 for Ethereum, but it didn't touch it yet. And technically, I haven't given a signal to put your stop loss to break even. So ideally, Ethereum should just be running happily and we're not really thinking much of it. Now, the measured move on the 1 hour does put us at 2720. So it's something to consider, but like Bitcoin, your MVP ribbon is sort of testing or up against your fluid zero line. And so momentum wise, Ethereum does look like it could go back to the upside. Let's look at Solana. Now, Solana is actually the only long from sort of the series of longs that were picked up, and it is still in profits. And let's go to the 5 minutes, 1 hour properly. Now, what I'm not liking on Solana is sort of this ascending channel here on the 1 hour. So if I let's just lock this for now, right? If I lock that, get a parallel channel going, draw the parallel channel. Oh no, that's that. I cannot use my PC today. But let's say we draw the parallel channel starting from here, right up here, like this, and just draw it down like this. You can see that it is a parallel channel, and that is bearish in nature. It's not helping that our 1 hour is signaling a hidden bearish divergence, down reversal triangle, as well as a trend shift. So I do think we fall back down to our entry at the very least. Now, our stop loss is quite big on Solana, so I'm not too worried. And the fact of the matter is, if we go to higher time frames, say your 4 hour, you can see that we're at a point where we do want to head up, where our stop loss is way below discount, and if we do come back down, we'll be facing up against this big liquidity block and the discount zone. So I'm not too scared for our Solana long. If we look at ZEC right now, it's one of the shorts that we're in. It's still looking pretty good. Granted, closing here would have been fun. I would have closed for like 450% ROI, but we didn't close above the white line. We closed below it, and so I think we still head down. There's a good chance that we still continue down to at least the previous week low here at 330. But yeah, with that said, um, let's look at some of the coins that sort of caught my attention earlier. So, poor Doge. Uh, let me just duplicate this, I guess. Pippin was one of them, right? It's overbought compared to the rest of the market. So let's look at how Pippin's doing. Although, truth be told, I don't think it's that shortable at the moment. Yeah, not really shortable at the moment. We've already missed the move on the 5 minutes. We basically soaked up this entire FVG here on the 1 hour. Might be difficult. Let's wait for US Open, which is in 15 minutes. And as a courtesy, we will uh, have the full 2 hours for today. So I'll be up here with you guys until 11 a.m. EST. So let me see if there's anything in chat. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, hey little fish, hey Gur, um, hey Vamshi, welcome to the show. I'm sorry guys, I also have like rhinitis right now, and my skin condition's flaring up. So forgive me if I just sort of start sneezing throughout the whole live today. It's really rough. Good morning. But yeah, what's up? You know, I'd like for the candles to be up, but I guess not. Except on Zek, I'd like the candles to be down on Zek. Let's look back to our guys here. So I mean, we are now getting sort of a push up, but I don't know. Market's really weird. Actually, let's look at this. Excuse me. Okay, bullish div on the 5 minutes for Zek. 1 hour does want to head up, but we keep getting rejected sort of on the dynamic reactor. But yeah, actually, I kind of want to get an idea. What trades are you guys in right now? Because as for me, right, I'm in a Solana long, a Bitcoin short, and a Zec short, and an Ethereum long. So I kind of have both short and longs right now. Just like sort of a a census basically. Are you guys in a long or in a short or both? BTC long and gold long. Nice. Okay. Gold makes sense. Bat long, sweet long would like to get on a short though. No trades. I see. Okay, so you guys are on a long. That's cool. That's really cool. But I'm looking for a gold short. All right. That actually does give me something to work with. So let's have a look at gold. Ticker's PAX, right? But oh no, this is the wrong PAX. Or is it AU? XAU. Okay, my bad. Thank you so much. Pang. Actually, I mean, in crypto it's called PAX G, right? look at. Okay, let's look at 4 hour here. That said, gold is kind of insane. Yeah, no. There's I don't think there's a way to short gold at the moment unless you want to be like roadkill. It's above your 200-day moving average. Let's see where your 200 week moving average is. If it even can okay, can't generate it yet. Understood. So it's above all the reactors, above your 200-day moving average. That said, maybe a decent place to short gold. I kind of wouldn't short it yet. I want to wait until you get your MVP ribbon goes below your fluid zero line. Notice how far it is off the actual zero line, right? And the moment you fell off the fluid zero line, right? If you did it here, you would have gotten a little bit of drawdown from this move. But then if you waited a bit and did it here, right here, you would have been sure that it would continue down. That said, on the ride up, that would have been a little bit difficult to ascertain at the moment. So right now, I probably wouldn't short gold. I'd want to wait until we get to maybe like 446, see how it reacts to this place, because it's still bullish as hell. Gold is quite bullish right now. Yeah. Okay. Bitcoin still headed up. Ethereum's headed up on the 5 minutes. Solana's headed up on the 5 minutes. My concern is, right, we saw a quick dump, a quick flash dump, right? And now we're seeing quite a recovery. Basically, all the liquidity that was sort of deleted in the dump has now been regained in terms of price. So I want to see what happens on US Open, which is 7 minutes from now. If the Open is really dumb, then we continue a push to the upside. But I really do feel they're going to defy some of our indicators. If not outright, just ignore the fact that a lot of our coins right now kind of want relief. Oh, hey Arfine. Hey Dian Baby. Uh, hey PXS Millie. Hey Bo. Welcome to the show. I'm Langstrom. Very, very happy that you guys are here to join me. Um, I don't know if you say it as Oz or AWS157, but welcome. Uh, right now, it's kind of hard to really ascertain any direction. Um, but actually, hold on. Let me see what coins I was looking at earlier again. Um, World Liberty World Liberty Finance might actually be something we want to look at because it was oversold quite a lot on the what time frame is this? On the 1 week. So let's see how. Hi, do you look at forex currencies? Uh, no, I don't. Well, I don't trade them, but I can have a look. Which one did you want me to have a look at? By any chance? Oh yeah, and for those who are new to the live stream, if you have any questions on any of the indicators or anything you want me to look at, just let me know. Um, I won't bite, and I love exploring different securities. Although I trade primarily cryptocurrency, Euro USD or GPB USD. Okay, sure. Uh, Let me see if I have anything. But I guess first of all, heavy money inflow into World Liberty Finance. We're really trying to get up, but your MVP or your fluid zero line on the MVP ribbon hasn't really gone down yet. So I do expect more downside on WLFI before we get our full godsend with this money inflow because it's crazy money inflow. But yeah, let's look at uh, Euro USD first. Um, uh, okay. Do you use Tickmill? Did I select the right ticker by any chance? Or what ticker do you use? Is it this one, Tickmill, or ICE? FCX. I see. Alright, FXCM. Okay. So, your USD 30 minute, it's telling you we're overbought as shit, right? You got to the premium zone, nice rejection. Um, that said, the 4 hour does say you want a little bit more upside. So what I would do is I just set an alert back at the premium on the 30 minute 1.17. See how we react, right? Ideally, we want a scenario in which Euro USD goes overbought again. We want a scenario in which our MVP ribbon, our momentum, is hyper extended to the upside before we get any real move to the downside. That said, our measured move based on our dynamics does place Euro USD to 1.18. So I would also set an alert above the premium, so at 1.18, and then here if we ever get to there. So the reason we're setting alerts is we want to be able to spend time with our family, away from the computer. It's just healthy. So set alerts, see if we reject from these um, from the premium at 30 minutes, above the 4 hour, and then at the measured move. You want your 4 hour to be overbought, then you want this to be hyperextended. Your fluid zero line will also follow, and then that would be a decent time to maybe short it. Oh, can you guys hear me by any chance? Um, you can hear me, right? Yeah, okay, perfect. I'm not sure why D and Baby can't hear me then. Uh, that might be sort of on D and Baby's end. But in any case, there is a recording, so feel free to watch the recording after. I'll try to get it posted within the hour of 11 a.m. EST. And sort of the same thing on GBP USD. Now, compared to Euro USD, GBP has already had a bigger move down according to our um, CPO Plus, but it also has potentially a bigger move to the upside. Notice how we bounced off the fluid zero line twice, right? We technically created a double bottom here, right? Same thing here, double bottom. So again, it's all a matter of setting alerts. I wouldn't go longer betting that GBP USD goes up. I think it will based on the 4 hour alone. So just set alerts, and if we zoom out a bit, maybe up here at 1.34, see if we go overbought, because every time we went overbought, for example here, yes, you did have a push to the upside, but you did get a move back down. Now, because of how frequently sort of these moves are really short in terms of price action, I do think eventually you are going to get a bigger move to the downside, especially because if we grab our parallel channel tool, you can see that in some ways, right, not a perfect, actually we can make it a perfect parallel channel if we just position it properly. Right? It's not perfect. Or maybe a wedge would be better. In any case, the point is this is an ascending structure. Ascending structures are more likely to break to the downside. And so you can see how there's basically not any real support around this area, right? We're basically empty. If I turn off this so we can just see price as it is, our only real support at this point is going to just be the support line we created around this area, your dynamic reactor, but other than that, you will want to return back down. So both with GBP and Euro USD, I think you want to head back down eventually. So just set alerts, be patient, and watch what happens. So yeah, I don't think I'm muted. Uh, yeah. Um, that's really odd. Is Daga DT here? No, I guess not. Unfortunately, but I think maybe you can reconnect. Not sure what's happening. All right, it's U.S. Open. Uh, typically, right? U.S. Open does tell us what the market's thinking, and I wait 20 minutes before I make a trade. So right now, it's all just a matter of waiting. Um, so we are pushing back up to the top of this channel. I have a feeling we get rejected, actually, but we'll see. How's Zek doing? Zek's also pushing up to the upside. Okay, back down, down, down. Couldn't sustain it. Pippin falling out. You know, it'd be funny if we long Pippin right now. That'd be so funny. Um, but let's see. Let's look at it from a higher time frame. Again, this is a very unsustainable structure. This should have broken down, like, this should have broken down here. But it's a good thing we got our Pippin short initially, because you know we'd be decimated had we kept that short open. That said, on the 4 hour, diamond shift four overboughts. This is a very bearish topper candle. If it closes bearish, that would be sort of our signal to short, and then our stop loss above premium. And we'd short it down to, let me pull. Okay, so this is an idea, not an endorsement. So I'm thinking something like this. Stop loss above here. Take profit, aim for a 1 to 1.5. In this case, let's go for a 2. Something like this, maybe. Again, just an endorsement. No, not an endorsement. Just an idea, not an endorsement. We don't know if it's going to close bearish. We want this to be red on the close, and then we can short it down to... Actually, maybe we can short it down to the point of control on the 4 hour. Something like this. But yeah. So you have 10 minutes before the close. On the 30 minutes. This might actually be something worth cooking. Yeah. But yeah. Let's look back. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. Man, I do think we dump, actually. Something about the data. I know it's bullish in the sense that, more unemployment or higher unemployment means there's a greater incentive to cut rates, and quantitative tightening is gone. It's not QE, but they are buying. But honestly, that's sort of QE in a sense. But they can't just buy and not print. So essentially what they're doing is just open market operations where they're buying assets, and that sort of increases their the central bank's balance sheet. But if they're not going to print, then it gets very difficult for the average American to basically feed themselves. So that's why it's so difficult to have a dual mandate system in the US. You have to worry about ensuring that the average American has a job, but making sure that their wage or what they make isn't going to basically, or their what they make at their job is going to be enough for them to actually live. And if inflation's too high, then they're not going to live. So what was the point of fighting to get them a job? But yeah, sort of just a economics thing. Although I kind of want to chill. Oh man. Okay. Let's see how things are looking. Honestly, kind of boring. um. Okay. Bitcoin, Ethereum's pushing. 1 hour BTC. Solana's doing well. Zek is pushing back to the upside. Yeah, sort of just ranging. Right, this is just the same candle in different fonts. I mean, obviously they're not the same candle, but the 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 price range that they're in is the same. But I guess while waiting, I'll just check in on what's in chat. All right, nothing's in chat so far. Oh, hey Armac, welcome. Exclusive.g. I think this is the first time you're on the show, but welcome and thank you for joining me. I do apologize if my voice again to those that were here earlier. I do apologize about my voice today. I do have like a bout of rhinitis and my skin condition's flaring up, so it's very difficult for me to like lift my upper lip without it being painful. So I kind of have to talk a little bit down here rather than the usual upbeat. But yeah, I'll try to keep things as breezy and light today though. Uh, but really, the market's been boring for the past, well, for the past 8 hours, I would say. We did get some nice moves, either to the upside to the downside, but when you look at it from sort of this lens, really, it's not that exciting. We're basically at the same price we were just 4 hours ago, right? We're basically here again. Okay. Okay. Would you mind taking a gander at SWE? Curious on your thoughts. I'm in at 1.4567. Oh, well, it's easy. I guess my thoughts on SWE is that I have an order at 1.3 something. So, yeah. And the reason I say that, or I have my order here, is because zooming into the 12 hour, or zooming out to the 12 hour, you're not oversold yet. And while you did get a nice reversal triangle, if Bitcoin continues to head down, which ultimately I do think it will, right? You've got signs here on the 1 hour. Even, I mean, I have no risk anymore, but my point still stands that I think it heads down to the 12-hour discount. So I do think SWE's going to get pulled along with it. So honestly, the stop loss I did give in the signal was kind of exaggerated. But you can probably put it here. It might not change things, but I guess we can go through sort of the lower time frames to get a better idea. SSV kind of looks a lot like Bitcoin, right? You got this structure right here. It's sort of trying to form a double bottom, but at the same time, I think it's gonna struggle a little bit. You are overbought from this point on. You did get a red reversal triangle. Now your CPO plus is still green, but notice how it wants to curve down. Notice that you've got a ton of money outflow. You do have good bullish volume. Your momentum is heading up, and your fluid zero line, it did get above the fluid zero line. So technically, momentum is overall bullish. But your higher time frames, if I zoom out maybe to the 1 day, right, and put this into the 1 hour, your 1 day still wants to head down. You've got heavy money outflow here on the 1 day. You've got good bullish volume. You are sort of. I really need to learn the term. It's basically how in osmosis you kind of just permeate through, or like there's like a barrier there, and you just kind of go through it. It's not an amazing rush through. It's just like you kind of get through it. So you're kind of doing that right here on the MVP ribbon. But notice how it's not that great. If we zoom into the MVP ribbon here, it's still curving down. It still wants to head down. And so I'm in the belief that SUI is going to want to head down still. So let me pull this back into the 1 day. And so I have my order down here at 1.3163. Now, of course, you have access to the same tools, and our interpretations of what our tools are telling us are going to be different. But that's just sort of my take, and I hope that provided you with some value. Osmosis. Yeah, but like what's the term when like it permeates into the other layer? Because you know how, what is it again? The thing is going to want to go to the place with the least amount of solute for equilibrium. Oh, of course. And, if you have any questions, or if you want to be able to just anything about the tools, just let me know. I'm really an open book. Solana, Arfine. I mean, I do have a long on Solana right here. Actually, it's ongoing right now. And it was a nice little sniper entry, right? Like, that is close to zero drawdown. That said, even I said in my sort of update that I do think it could still head down. Like, this is sort of just a lucky tap, in my opinion, and you can see we are sort of in an ascending channel on the 1 hour. So if I go back to the 1 hour on Solana, it's clearer that you are in an ascending channel. And if you've got hidden bearish div, downward reversal triangle, and a diamond shift, I do think you head down somehow. But you are going to get caught by this liquidity block here on the 1 hour, which has some good bullish delta, and the discount zone on the 1 hour. So I am still in profits in Solana. I'm letting this run. I'm not too scared, because even if our measured move is down here, I do think we're really far down. I don't think that, anything's possible. But the likelihood that it completely annihilates here and that translates to a thing here, I don't think so necessarily. Given that you're basically at a ton of support for Bitcoin. So I'm thinking something along the lines of maybe going back to the zero and then bouncing from there, because your MVP ribbon is giving you some bullish signs, or rather that we are going to have bullish momentum overall. So what I'm trying to say is the possibility of going down, it's very much up there, but the possibility of a crazy liquidity draining down, I'm not entirely convinced. But I do think we still head down, so I'm not giga aping into longs, but my overall my overall outlook is still bullish until we get to 108k. I think that's really the deciding factor. And I might be crazy. We might never go back to 108k until like 3 years from now. Who knows, right? I'm definitely not a fortune teller, but sort of my background in economics, banking, that's sort of guiding my bias right now. And based on our tools, based on like sort of the 1 week, I do think we still head back to the uh to 108. So if you look here, all right, this is sort of my overall guiding chart, which is based on Bitcoin. So we are below the 200-day moving average. Sucks, right? But we never got sort of a change of character yet. I have this Elliott wave automatic indicator, and you can see how we bounced off the 0.881, which is also the 3-day buy zone bullish order block. And right below that is a liquidity block right here on the 1 week. Now, the fact of the matter is, I think this is based on Blowfin, but if you go to Binance, there's really only been a few times, one other time where we went oversold on Bitcoin, and that sort of preceded a whole 300% increase on Bitcoin. And this is sort of the first time that we went triple oversold on Bitcoin. Now, if we close the week below this trend line, I think that's scary in the sense that then we're looking for lower targets, right? But if we're doing something like this where the body, or rather this bearish body sort of gets absolved and we go just straight up into this structure, then yeah, game on. We're still game on. So my main target right now is about 108,000 on, excuse me, Bitcoin. And when your MVP ribbon bottoms out, because again, this is just momentum, you can see that the bearish momentum is weakening, but it still has a lot of extension left on the MVP oscillator. When this bottoms out and this starts to turn, you now have a recipe for the CPO plus on the 1 week to really sort of let its wings soar. Now, you do have a bit of money outflow, and that's fine, right? This could be reflecting ETF outflows and whatnot. You can see that every time that we've had money outflow, we did dump, right? From this point on, very little. In fact, you can say that they're about at the same level. And when it started decreasing again, even just a little bit of money inflow, we got a huge move to the upside, right? And we're getting diamond shifts and whatnot. So again, we could just be in a period of chop just like this, and then we head back up, or we make a head and shoulders on the 1 week, in which case yeah, we're definitely dumping if that's the case, back down to at least the 200-week moving average, which is at 60,000. So yeah, but yeah, on Sol, I do think overall bullish, still aiming for about 155 on Sol. um and I am in the long for Sol. Yeah, let's look at Zek again. Honestly, I'm contemplating if I should close Zek. I mean, I'm basically up. Uh, I'm basically up six. It's given me another 6% on my total portfolio. Like even right here, down here it was giving me about 11% on my portfolio. So, oh no, not 11%, maybe 10%. But I'm up 6% on my portfolio just on this. So I'm considering closing it. But if I zoom out to the 12-hour, um, right, heavy money outflow. We sort of touched the FVG here. It's sort of telling me that we could go back down to meet it again. We sort of fell out the quantum reactor, and so I'm just gonna let Zek run, see what happens. And this is a much clearer indication of bearish momentum. Now, if it twists, well, that sucks, right? But yeah, I'm thinking about it. Let's see the chat. What is money flow? Knowing Sailor is buying means someone else sold more than him. Uh, Hold on. Oh, okay. So our fiend, it says you've got your pro. So your oscillator is gonna look like this. But I guess okay. I can explain. Let's go. So your oscillators, your prime oscillator is going to look like this. So it's basically the same thing. You can see it's giving basically the same sort of signals, right? And it's printing a very similar sort of ribbon. But the difference here is um, the the prime oscillator Pro Plus also includes volume and money flow. So how we understand, or how you can better understand volume and money flow is volume. Let's think of it like a concert, okay? So the market's the concert. Volume is going to be how many people bought tickets. So when you've got your volume matrix green, that means a lot of people are buying tickets. To let's say who's a band right now? Let's say 21 Pilots. I don't know if that means they're bullish, but anyways, let's say that 21 Pilots, that concert is bullish, and uh, who would be bearish? Let's say a no-name band. A no-name band is bearish, right? So if you got bullish volume like this on the volume matrix, if it's green, that means people are buying for the 21 Pilots concert. Great. What money flow, or how money flow differentiates itself from volume, is how many of those concert goers are buying merchandise. How many of them are buying drinks or whatnot. So volume tells you sort of just an aggregate, the quantity of participants in the market, but money flow is telling you sort of what those participants are actually doing, or whether or not their participation is significant. Does that make sense? So um when you have a lot of volume like this but bearish or money outflow, that's saying that there are a lot of people who are buying, but there are a fewer amount of seller. There's, in terms of number, there are a fewer amount of sellers, but they're selling at a very significant premium compared to how much buyers there are. So there's sort of that divergence or that contradiction. So even if you have good volume, right, good bullish volume, but if you have heavy money outflow, that just tells you that most likely you're going to see a continued dump. So when we look at Bitcoin, right, let's look at Bitcoin from maybe a 1 day perspective. I'll just boot up a new chart just so it's clearer, right? We don't have any pre-existing. Oh wow, Pippin, good job. Let's go to the 1 day. I think that's gonna be easier. Not Pippin. BTC USDT dot P. Right. So Saylor, yes, Michael Saylor. There are a lot of companies, um, a lot of private companies who are buying billions worth of Bitcoin every week. But that doesn't mean that they're. You can see that. Okay, for example, uh, when was a massive dump here? Excuse me. Actually, maybe Binance would be more accurate. Okay, for example, right over here. Right. Let's go back in history, before we tackle the wholesaler and everyone else buying the buckle. This is sort of the bear market. Oh no, it's not bear market. This is the dump of March 2025. Okay. So we know that in February there were a lot of sell-offs in Bitcoin. You can see going into December or November of 2024, there was a massive spike in money inflow. A lot of people were participating, not only in terms of volume, but the quality of their buys, or how much money they're putting in, is a lot. So, big money inflow. The moment we started dropping, you can see sort of, I mean, you still had sort of the lingering effects of that increase in money flow and volume, but you can see that it clearly didn't have enough power to move up higher. As soon as we got our money outflow, even just a tiny shift, we started dropping significantly, right? But then the moment we started getting money inflow again, we started pushing up to the upside. Notice how your money outflow, we stalled a little. We're basically just ranging at this point. Money inflow again, we're pushing up. And you can see that at this point, right, Michael Saylor has been buying around this area. When we dumped down to 100, he's probably buying a little bit. When he dumped all the way down here, he's probably buying a ton. So we did see that money increase. There were enough people buying at this point, but that didn't spare the fact that the market wanted to dump. We also got a transition in volume. That means that there were a lot more sellers. The quality of the buys got really good, but the sellers, that was too much in terms of volume, and that pushed price down. Now we're seeing the opposite. There are a lot of buyers. It is decreasing right now though, but the quality of the money outflow, it's sort of overpowering the volume right now. So money flow, quality of the participants, and then volume is just how many participants are there. So that you can base it off money flow, or when you do analysis, you can base it off volume. But essentially, we want to use them in tandem to get a better understanding. So good volume, right? I mean, you can see from this point on, a lot of buyers stepped in. That could be Michael Saylor. He's one of lots of buy orders are being filled. Lots of people are now buying the dip, right? But you have institutions, let's say BlackRock or whoever else holds Bitcoin. These guys, they're showing outflows of Bitcoin, and that's sort of stalling the fact that we have a lot of volume going in, and now volume sort of decreasing again. It's in a period of transitioning. So if this goes out and we get positive money inflow again, it's possible that we can expect at least some more moves to the upside. So use these two in tandem, right? Number of orders, or what order is sort of leading the charge, and the quality of the orders. That's what money flow is. Yeah, you're very welcome. No worries. All right, let's go back into our analysis. But yeah, honestly, today has been kind of annoying. There's not a lot of exciting things going on. Pippin's just dying. Maybe we should have hopped into a short. Right. Oh. Well, that's fun. It literally hit our full take profit. Had we entered. Oh, it's so funny. No. It's not worth entering at this point. Yeah, it's a crazy dump. It just broke through every possible support in one candle. But yeah, let me just check who's here. Hey Matchstick. Hey Eddie. Hey Dimitar. Welcome. But yeah. Okay. Actually, I'm not sure if I greeted C-Busby, but welcome to the show. Yeah, thanks for joining me today. My upper lip really hurts. Oh man. Okay, but yeah, no, we're really just chopping right now. It's not clear what we want to do. The only clear thing was Pippin earlier, and that's already passed. So, best not to look at that. Let's go back to Doge. Okay. Okay, so that is a rejection, bullish rejection on the dynamic reactor. But ideally we don't want a 12-hour close above this white line. Pippin's still going. But yeah, this whole week, just expect a lot of sort of manipulation and volatility. We do have Bank of Japan, I think, on Friday, and we have a couple more uh, economic indications coming out within the week. So just be very cautious. Use a stop loss. If you're like me and you use a cross margin strategy, please use a stop loss. Uh, right, we've been winning, yes, and we're in profits right now, and I'm sure a lot of us have ideally, I mean, hopefully, a lot of us have locked in those profits. But be careful, guys. Uh, it's gonna be a very treacherous week ahead. And that's the one thing I am sure of. Yeah. We have important classes. So, if you go to that channel, uh, they're sort of just a playlist of the important classes you can learn on for the indicators. There's also documentation. So if you type in, actually, let me type that in for you, docs.chartprime.com. You can read up on sort of how the indicators, or sort of the logic or the use for those indicators, and then go from there. So personally, what I did was I watched sort of the YouTube videos we have. Oh yeah, fun fact. I, I also subscribed to Chart Prime before I became a contracted analyst for them. So I was in your shoes. What I did was I watched the YouTube videos, I read the documentation, and then I just played around with them, sort of back tested to see what I liked about sort of the settings. So if we go here, I don't actually have all the settings on. So I started out with Pro, which is why I like the old shape. I don't like the line that we have. I want to get a better sense of magnitude. Hence, I like the old shape better. Um, I don't use True 7. I know OC and Alex Crypto really like True 7. It's a great indicator, just not what I like for my style. I changed the colors of my divergence. I like my money flow divergence and whatnot. I also changed some of the symbols on mine so that it would be better, including sort of my strength indicators as well. So feel free to play around with your indicators and figuring out how you want to set them up, right? Also, there is also a video link to my channel. So if you go to Pro Analyst Langstrom, it's pinned there. It's going to be a Google Drive link. You can just see my general trading routine. I also teach you how to add the fluid zero line on your MVP oscillator here, which helps with determining whether vo- momentum is overall bullish or overall bearish. Because you can get sort of a move like this where, yes, momentum is bearish at this point, but because it's above the fluid zero line, it's basically bullish still, right? And here on the 12-hour, you can get a move like this, which is bullish momentum. But because it's below the fluid zero line, you consider that still as bearish, which is why I haven't been. While yes, I'm contemplating closing the short, but based on the higher time frame, I'm inclined to basically continue. Not inclined. I'm compelled to continue just shorting and seeing where it goes. And this is sort of just some short-term volatility. But yeah, I hope that answers your question. And again, if you need any help, feel free to tag me on Trading Chat. Uh, if you need help with understanding what this symbol means on your indicator or sort of the logic, feel free to tag me and ask. Yeah, perfect. Thanks. About the white line. Yeah, so I feel like this is just going to be a ritual for every live. Not that I'm angry about it, right? Again, I enjoy um, hanging out with you guys and also learning. And if you guys can teach me something along the way, then I'd be absolutely ecstatic, right? So essentially, in its base form, your MVP oscillator is a superior MACD. Its momentum but in ribbon form, which allows you to determine whether or not you still have room to extend and whether momentum itself is overextended, whether to the top or downside. Whereas with MACD, you kind of just have to guess where it ends, right? So what we want to do here is, because it's in ribbon form, because it's an oscillator, we can essentially get moving averages to tell us whether or not it's overall bullish, overall bearish, if we could possibly bounce, right? Continue the current momentum it's in. So if we go to these three dots, you go to add indicator, you type in MA ribbon. Now I'm not sure, but some of our subscribers here don't have moving average ribbon. I'm not sure if it's because I have a TradingView premium plan. I'm not sure why, but for me, I have it. Now, all you need really is an indicator that lets you choose a moving average, right? Lets you choose a moving average and then allows you to modify the length. So for this, we just need one moving average. I pick SMA because for me, that's what I like. You can do EMA as well. It's up to you. Um, but if you want to copy like my exact setup, it is SMA. So then I'm going to make it white because for me, that's more visible. We're going to put length as a 144. And the reason is we want sort of a smoother line. And we want to make sure that we don't get too much sort of moves or volatility with our line, since we want it to be a very reliable level in telling us whether something is overall bullish or bearish. Then we're going to go to this setting and we're going to pick the second to the last. So this is just where that line is going to be placed. So it's just second to the last. I'm using the Prime Oscillator Pro indicator, not Pro Plus. But if it is Pro Plus, then it's the same thing. It'll be here second to the last. But since we're doing this, second to the last, for style, I'm just going to make it slightly thicker. It's up to you if you want to make it thicker or not. Then I'm going to tick these. So this is just cosmetic. And then after that, you have it on your chart. It's really that simple. But yeah. Okay. I do have to thank Digital LRS. I didn't discover this, by the way. So if you see Digital LRS in trading chat, he doesn't really talk that much. But if you see him, thank him for the tip and for the fluid zero line. But looking at chat, we do have Dashanilla. Welcome to the show. I'm Langestrom, and if you guys have any questions or any tips or any coins you want me to look at, just let me know. So looking at where we are, again, we're just ranging. There's no clear direction. It's really just chopping, and that's sort of what I'm afraid of. Yeah, you know what? We should have just shorted Pippin. We should have just market shorted Pippin. Hope for the best, but it is what it is. Kind of sad, but it is what it is sometimes. Okay. Actually, I kind of want to look at XRP. Huh. This was a trade idea that I didn't really. Well, I'm not in the trade, but I just drafted this thinking it would be fun to put a long on XRP, and it would have hit. It would have been like Solana right now. Might actually be something. Is this the 1 week? Okay, this is the 1 week. Might be interesting to actually take a long on XRP. Man, oopsie. Let me just turn that off. what I will say is it feels like in terms of the moves now, Zek is aligning with BTC again, right? You know, nice consolidation. I say nice consolidation, but it's like uh, terrible consolidation. But yeah, man, I really don't like these sessions being boring and not being able to give you guys anything. Yeah, it's just chopping. Hmm. So trend shift and downward reversal triangle. Solana trend shift, downward reversal triangle. Ethereum's pushing up, Bitcoin's pushing up, Solana's pushing up. Let's get rid. Yep. We're just gonna have to wait. It seems. But actually, let me check the RSI heat maps again. Maybe there's something we can look at properly. Aster, Tau, Trump. Let's look at Trump. Might be worth looking at. Hmm. So that's not really useful. That's our short on Trump. Very nice short. Yeah, no, I kind of don't want to touch Trump anymore. What do I think about XLM? XLM. Let's have a look at XLM. XLM. I mean, you are right in the sense that we're at lower extremities on higher time frames. Let's look at the 4 hour, like you said. I don't think so yet. Um, my reason being is that you see how we got this resistance line. We did close above it, but if we close below it like this, it's just gonna continue back down to the discount zone. So longing here might not be a great idea, but the idea to long in itself, I think, is a great idea. Uh, we did get stopped by the previous month low, but note how our discount is here, but that's also because of the crash of October 10. Typically, market makers like to fill out about 70% of the wick we made. So if our wick is about 50%, we want about 35%, maybe 40%, right? Say 40% to be safe. Then let's draw it 35%. Yeah, right here. So I would say putting a long order on XLM at around this range would make a ton of sense. So 0.19 to 0.2. Actually, I might make a signal on this. I'll review it a little more, but I think putting along an XLM is a great idea. Around this range would make a ton of sense to me if my theory holds that Bitcoin heads down, right? Because okay, yeah, no. What's this? It looks like it is sort of a double top, um, harmonic looking structure there on the 5 minutes. Same with Ethereum, Solana as well. Zach, yeah, it's falling. Nice. Okay. So I do think this range would be a great place, and then putting your stop loss below discount or maybe even this support line would make a ton of sense. So, Paolo, great job on like seeing the long. Although, it's a contrarian strategy, so I am a little biased, but I will give you props because I would take a long. I'm not sure if like Runair would take a long. He'd be like, nah, short that shit. But I would take a long. So, but yeah, I would take a long somewhere around this range. So just set alerts. 0.2, 0.207, 0.2, 0.19, and see where we go. Yeah, I'd take a long. Let's see who else is here. Hey, get M86. Lovely seeing you again. Um, Sly R21. Welcome to the show. Van, welcome. Uh, but yeah, thank you guys for joining me. Oh man. Oof. I know like it doesn't look like there's something crazy going on, but like my upper lip just absolutely hurts. It's like burning. Uh, uh excuse me. Sorry. Okay. So we still got about 42 minutes on the show. Um, and I do have to wake up early because it is tradition here in the Philippines to basically go to mass for 9 days for the 9 days leading up to Christmas. So it's like walking with the Virgin Mary for like 9 months of pregnancy, and we have mass at like 5 or 4 a.m. in the morning. It's tradition, so got to do that. I love it. It's just if you're the driver, it's not the best thing in the world, but it is the Christmas season. Yeah, very early mornings. I'm contemplating whether I should sleep or not. um, but yeah, we do this up to like sort of yeah we do this every Christmas. It's tradition. But yeah, XLM, Ethereum, Solana. Yes, I mean it's just chopping. It's not giving anything. Again, the only thing that gave us anything was Pippin, and it already passed. It's crazy. Oh, hey, stock scalping samurai. It's been a while. Lovely seeing you again. I mean, it's fun to have both or to trade both sides, but if it's chopping like this, really difficult to tell where we're headed. No, don't call me that. I don't have a PhD. Please don't. You can probably call me that once I become a lawyer, because at least a Juris Doctor is a doctorate. So. The scalping lawyer. That has a good name to it, actually. But I'd have to wait like 5 years before I get called the scalping lawyer. But yeah. Yeah, either corporate or intellectual property. I think intellectual property might be more up my alley. Less litigation. And I think it's definitely more flexible because it's on an ad hoc basis. I don't really have to basically sign myself into the corporate life. And thinking long term, you know, if when I do have a family, I want to have time for kids. So yeah, that for music industry. Oh, it's really cool. But yeah, always you always need lawyers when it comes to music. You got to protect the art, copyrights, and trademarks, or patents for musical instruments of some kind. But yeah, okay, not exciting. Like guys, this is the 5 minutes, and it's not doing anything. If we zoom out to like the 30 minutes, it's jack nothing. Like this is nothing to this is not useful whatsoever. You can see the contradiction here again. Heavy money outflow, bullish volume, bearish trend direction, but then you're kind of flipping up. You might want to go up. It's really not giving us anything. In fact, it's very probable that it does something like, ooh, I think this could happen, right? Because you zoom out, all right. This is the 1 hour. This could be like a one bottom, two bottom, right? All right. It could be something like that, and it could be like, ooh, or no. Let's get an actual trend line. I think parallel channel might be better. Probably not. I mean, it could be something like this, right? And then you've got. Oh no! In this case, this would. Oh no! But if it double bottoms and then you get something like this, then you've got sort of pressure here, the trend line, and then you break past the trend line. Right. It could do something like that, or it could like set a lower low, which I think is probable to trick retail and really get the longs out. Could do something like this. Right? And that would give you, I mean, I was about to say that would give you a good booty for Christmas, but I don't think that sounds right. Um oh, thank goodness there are no children in this Discord. Oh, oh dear. Oh no, there's no divorce here in the Philippines. Stock scalping samurai. We have annulment. There's no divorce here. Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Eddie. uh, I laugh at myself too. Yeah. Uh, I guess you could say that. I mean, it's hard to tell because no, I mean we're definitely a more flexible culture for sure. Um, but a lot of why we don't have divorce is because the Philippines is a predominantly Catholic country. No, there are a lot of people who get married. Marriage rates are quite high in the Philippines. Um, but because of that Catholic influence, the whole concept of divorce um, isn't really a thing here. I would say. I mean, what some people with money or with capital, what they'll do is they'll get married elsewhere so that they have the option to get a divorce later on. But at the same time, it's quite difficult, and uh, what we do have is just annulment, which is the marriage was never a thing, like the marriage never existed in the first place, which has a whole bunch of legal proving you need to do. Like you have to prove that there was no love in the first place, that there was sort of maybe not coercion, but then something to that degree. So it's very difficult here in the Philippines to basically separate from a spouse. But it has its ups and downs. I for one do not want for when I do get married. I for one do not think I'm going to ever file for divorce or annulment. But I respect whoever whoever deems that it is necessary for both, whether that's for their children, for their mental health, for whatever reason. Yeah. But yeah. Very fun. Philippine politics. Ooh. But yeah. Okay. Man, that's rough. Yeah, I know about alimony. Actually, I hear a lot of people make it a what's this? They make it a whole event, like a pictorial um for what's it called again? A prenup. Yeah, there we go. They make it a whole event for a prenup. Like a prenup is almost always 100% there in any marriage here in the Philippines. Yeah. Okay, ETH is dropping, Bitcoin's dropping. Don't mind my USD PHP. Solana's dropping. ZEC is not doing anything, although it's kind of trying to drop. Not a fun, not a fun chart to trade right now. All right. Actually, you know what? Let me do one attempt at maybe getting us a swing trade because I don't want us leaving the live without setting a position of any kind. Excuse me? Oh, okay. Okay, interesting. It's a good thing I looked at the 1 week. So, descending channel, technically you could argue it's a bull flag because whenever you have such a long pole next to a descending channel, you could say that, but it's such a tiny pole that it kind of doesn't make sense. And then if you long it from the range, that's 500% without leverage. So you know what? That actually makes sense as an altcoin. So the question is, where in this range would it be best to put in a long? So if we go to the 4 hour, we check what's in this range. Nothing. Nothing yet. I think we gotta go to intermediate time frames. Still nothing. I want to see maybe like some sort of like liquidity block or order block of some kind. If I do 8H, maybe that gives me something. We're kind of flying. Oh no, okay. Smart target. It's not really that great of a reason. Okay, weird time frame times. 10H. Nothing. Does have smart targets. They're all above. Okay, what if I do different exchanges for more data? Okay. Um okay, let's go back to the 8H or 6 hour. Uh, but congrats on Doge and Solana signals. Thank you. You can always show a setup you like. It's still helpful. Yeah, I mean, I do have a video of how I trade generally on pinned to my channel, but yeah, again, what I'm looking for is exhaustion on higher time frames before I set in sort of a long or a short, and that's sort of what I'm looking for. And then, in terms of general direction, I base it off FA as well as where the liquidity blocks are on our charts. So, right now, if I go to our Bitcoin exchange liquidation maps. Wait, let me show you guys. And this is also why I'm kind of scared to do any scalp longs at the moment. When we started the show, these guys were equal, or rather, yeah, these guys were equal. And then when I refreshed earlier, the longs got decimated. And then now the longs have now piled in. The shorts are getting slightly decimated. 7 day, more liquidity to the top side. But what's important here, right, is you have a liquidity cluster right about at 88,000. So once you get rid of these high leverage traders, you're going to get a lot more longs, and therefore you're going to get a stronger incentive to go back down to around 84,000, where this sort of cluster ends, right? You can see it ends sort of around 84,000, which is our Bitcoin long entry based on the 12-hour and 4-hour. So what I'm thinking potentially before I end the show is maybe ending with a short on Bitcoin, but then again, I am also in a short on Bitcoin. But maybe we can look at a couple other coins that are exhibiting something very similar. So let's look at ADA. It's not. I kind of want a higher imbalance. Maybe XRP is gonna be better. Okay, yeah, XRP is better. So let's look at XRP and potentially do a scalp short on XRP and see where we can enter. Because if I go here, let's go to the 5 minutes, 1 hour. Now don't mind this. This is just something I drafted in my head and totally forgot. I say in my head, but I put it on the chart. But I totally forgot, and I don't have any orders for XRP. Otherwise, I would have shared it with you guys. But what I'm seeing now is the 1 hour might want to get rejected. And based on our liquidity cluster from earlier, our liquidity cluster kind of ends at 1.974. So we have our 618. Hold on. Let me just hide this for a second because we don't need it. So you have our 618 here on the 1 hour, 1.9499. And what do we see at 1.97? It's our dynamic reactor. We can also see at this point that we do have a resistance line here on the 5 minutes. So if I go to maybe the 15 minutes here, bump this up to the 4 hour, I think we can get a little bit more information. So we are eating this FVG right now, and I hope the 15 minutes loads better. Not a lot. Okay. I think what we had earlier was much better. Okay. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a short on XRP so that you guys don't... And again, this is based on both fundamental analysis and seeing where the best entries are with our tools on Chart Prime, right? Because holy shit, our tools are accurate. So I'm going to short, let's say here, right at the resistance line. I'll put my stop loss above equilibrium, or actually let's put above the quantum reactor, since we basically have two heavily bearish liquidity blocks acting as our resistance before we hit our stop loss. And then let me actually, where did I place? Okay, I should put a white line next time. Hold on, let me just see where I placed my order that I did at the top of my head. Okay, 1.85. So I'll just put a horizontal line here, slightly above entry. Let's hide this again, and then let's go back here. So I'm going to go ahead and short XRP. I'll put my order here at the resistance. Stop loss above the quantum reactor. take profit at our white line, which yields us about 2.5 risk to reward. So pretty nice, if I do say so myself. Slightly put this away. And this is based on our FA, our liquidity on the FA. It's based on the fact that the dynamic reactor, if we do get a retest there, is going to most likely reject, with the 1R being overbought. It's at a resistance here on the 5 minute and way above multiple resistances, 5 minutes, as well as liquidity blocks on the 5 minutes. So yeah, I will go ahead and set this order, and also make sure I tell everyone else in chat. But yeah, feel free to jot down the entry, stop loss, take profit as I prepare my signal. Okay, let's go back here. Let me go ahead and type this in. Let's go to crypto signals, XRP. Actually, you know what? We don't have to go there. We can just go back here to XRP. Do this. Go back to the 1 hour, click this, so it becomes nicer for you guys to read. Oh, I removed the dynamic reactor. Okay, let me just quickly put it back. Okay, lovely. And then let me save this image for us. Okay. Okay, put this. Sure. 1.98. 2.03 for stop loss. Okay, we should probably pull out a fib. That's not a fib retracement. 1.93. 1.93. Yeah, 1.93 is good. Oh, no, I didn't mean to delete this. Final take profit at 1.85. 1.853. And let me pull out my calculator so I can calculate our recommended leverage. Oh, nope, didn't mean to do that. 1.98. Stop loss at 2.03. Oh wow, big number. Is that right? That doesn't seem right. Oh, okay. No, this is correct. Yeah, no, this is correct. Okay. Crazy. It's recommending 100x leverage. Okay, let's just do 50 to 100, I guess. Okay. ending at 1.97. One HCPO plus exhibiting heavy money outflow hidden bearish divergence that has not played out, and a bearish diamond trend shift. SL above 5-minute premium, and 2 bearish premium, 1H quantum reactor, and 2 1H bearish liquidity blocks. Add crypto signal. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my order for this, since as much as possible when I give signals, I want to join you guys on those signals. So I'm gonna go ahead to Blowfin and BTCC to place in my orders. $1.9805. Okay, so short. And then let me go to Blowfin. Duolingo is 15 minutes to do Duolingo. That's rough. Let me see chat. So establish a trend on a, so you can scalp with the trend. Yep, that's the plan. Does this mean that there's a long to 1.98? Possibly. But I don't know if I want to take that long, just because what's this? You could get stopped out at 1.94. So I take trades that are more likely to get filled than possibly get stopped out. So I had to step. How did you go over what form? Okay, so actually I can send you the formula I use. So pinned to my signals channel matchstick, I have a calculator, and what that calculator does is it calculates leverage based on entry, stop loss, as well as entry and stop loss basically. So if I pull that up right now, right, okay, let me template, trade log and calculator template. So here is what the spreadsheet's calculation is. Essentially, what it's doing is okay. It came out a little weird because of some of the formatting, but essentially, what it's doing is it's rounding, um, sort of the difference. I forgot how I made this, but essentially the logic is that if the SL is greater than the entry price, then it does some rounding, dividing, and then it essentially just wants to get your set amount of risk to reward. So, for example, if my risk to reward is 2, the leverage is going to calculate what would be the best leverage in such a way that if it hits the SL, I only lose 2% of my portfolio, and but then when it hits sort of the minimum take profit, I'm going to make 4% of my portfolio. So yeah, um, really, but you have Pro and Plus, so you're entitled to the signals channel since you can get into this live stream. Everyone can. Um, wait. I think you'll have to go to channels. Like if you scroll up on your desktop, there's like three buttons or places you can go to: server guide, 8 events, channels. Click on channels and then do crypto signals, and then you'll have access to my channel, which is why some of us are already in trades that I've basically announced prior. But yeah, let me just quickly plug in my order for XRP here on Blowfin. 1.9805. And I guess if you guys are interested in copying any of my trades, since I'm trading on Blowfin, just let me know. You, I have an affiliate link with Blowfin, care of Chart Prime, where you can basically just directly copy the trades that I do, so you don't have to like plug it in yourself. So you just like set a set amount of margin, and then Blowfin will just do all the magic, and you copy all of my positions without having to hassle yourself of inputting my signals yourself. So just let me know. I can send the link over. But yeah, 1.9805. Um, I'm really maxing out the leverage on Blowfin as well. Crazy. 1%. Ugh. Come on, 1%. TPSL, advanced, short. It's at 2.02, 2.03. I should say 2.03. And then 1.85. 1.85. Let's say 3. Yeah, alright. Short. Ta-da. Yeah. Did I discuss Zec? Ah, I see. Uh, for Zec, okay, let me go back to Zec. So, Zec is currently at 400. Um, Now, my rationale for keeping the Zec short is because the 12H is still signaling some downside, overall bearish momentum. Um, right now, you can see that while it is moving, I'm not sure if this is gonna last. I'm still in my Zec short. If you're worried, um, I do, but you can close if you'd like. Granted, I think that there is a little bit more downside on Zec. That's my personal opinion, um, based on the higher time frame. So I'm playing sort of the 12 hour here, but it is quite a lot of profits that you potentially could not that you would potentially lose if it continues up. I'm prepared to fully close though if we get to about 420, but I'm just gonna wait for this 12 hour to play out, because what I've been seeing about Zek is that it's leaving just wicks everywhere. And so if it leaves like a very long wick and we close back here, then I think we're still game on. If I go to the 4 hour, which I did say earlier was sort of my basis, our last 4 hour close, it did close below the white line. So you could base it off this 4 hour close. If it closes above the white line, then you can close the short, right? Um, you are showing signs that you could see that. You know how your ribbon's twisting. Um, your MVP ribbon hasn't fully twisted yet, so potentially you could just be seeing something like this, right? It's not at the bottom extremity like over here. Excuse me. So I'm still comfortable in the short. Don't worry. If I do close, I'll be sure to tell everyone. Uh, but oh wow, this is a strong move. But yeah, can you share a vote? Oh sure. Let me just grab it for you. So boop, 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 boop. Da, 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 da. So actually, um, Alex, the Chart Prime CEO, it gets confusing because there's Alex O'Crypto, and Gecko's first name is actually Alex, and my first name is also Alex, so it gets confusing. But um, actually, let me send it to trading chat. So Paolo, I'll send it over in trading chat. But that's essentially my link to Blowfin. So you do get rewards as well because it is a campaign, and yeah, you can just copy my trades straight from Blowfin. So let's look at how XRP is doing. Kind of far from entry. Um, but we'll get there. So how's Solana doing? Okay, Solana's still pushing, which is nice. Bitcoin short. Essentially, if at 88,000 we just blast through on Bitcoin, I'm gonna consider closing the scalp short. Kind of fell a little bit off of the goal here, but it's a good thing that the Solana long got filled. As for Zek, I'll wait it out a little more, because again, this is a pretty bearish looking structure, right? It's a very ugly head and shoulders if you want to look at it that way, right? Very very ugly head and shoulders. But depending on how the 4 hour closes, if it closes above this white line, then I'm closing automatically. And we'll get our answer in about 6 minutes, right? So, best wait till then. Be interesting if we break through this. What's XRP doing? Overbought. Solana pushing up. ZEC pushing up. First resistance. This is the POC on the money flow. Overbought. Last two candles. 3 minutes before close. XLM. Didn't like that. Ethereum punching up. Okay, Solana showing actually showing a lot of strength. Yeah, I mean, if we close here, it's still a 12% win. Three minutes. I just deletes all the gains here, just one big red candle. Oof, rejection. Rejection, rejection. They are regaining strength. BTC. But yeah. 5, 4. Nope. Okay. Okay. I don't answer your question. I am closing ZEC. Yeah, I'll be closing ZEC now. So, closing ZEC fully for 260% ROI. And on Blowfin, that accounts for a 6%. What is that? That accounts for a 6% increase to the portfolio. So yeah. But yeah, with that said, hold on, why didn't that close? But yeah, with that said, thank you guys for joining me today. I know I was gone for like 10 minutes, but thank you for waiting so patiently and for joining me. The market's gonna be really rough this week. I don't expect it to be kind to us. It's going to do a lot of crazy stuff. But thank you for joining me, and for spending time just ju- just on the live. And I really enjoy interacting with you guys. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Um, Same time, 9 p.m. 9 a.m. EST. And yeah, with that said, advance Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays if you guys celebrate. And once again, I'm Langstrom, and always use a stop loss. I'll see you guys tomorrow.